Well, yeah, well, what's the date today?
The 10th.
Challenge.
The 16th?
October
10th.
10th? This is the Dune City Council meeting for October 10th, 2018. Could we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Duke Wells.
Here.
Counselor Tom Mellon.
Here.
Counselor Alan Montgomery.
Here.
Counselor Robert Ward.
Here.
Absent and excused are Mayor Forsyth, Council President Sheldon Meyer, and Counselor Susan Snow. So I thank you all for being here so that we can have a quorum. I tried to make the agenda light.
Good.
Much appreciated, thank you.
Motion to approve the agenda?
So, second.
And motion approved and seconded. Approve the agenda. Let's see, a motion to approve the.
Do we need all in favor?
Oh, vote. Well, that's not very democratic. Well, let's have a vote.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, then the motion to approve the agenda unanimously passed. Motion to approve the consent agenda. So.
Second.
We had a motion to approve and seconded. We'll have a vote. Aye.
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 Motion to approve, seconded, and a vote has been unanimous to approve the consent agenda.
I'm sorry, point of order. There is amended bills of the session. The Huckleberry Road project has been completed. So those bills are on the.
I did see that, by the way. That was a nice job they did on that.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I thought so too.
Was that the 47,000 from
Correct.
Ray Wells?
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how it works when the rains come.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I want to see how it
I
works.
think it's gonna work well.
So that's the plan.
Let's see, 6, we go on to announcements. Do I read them?
Do we have to vote on that?
Do we have to vote on this? Other thing?
Well, you need to, yes, address the amended bills of the session.
Then we'll, anybody had an opportunity to look at the amended bill of the session here? Yeah. One minute to look at them. Looks like the total was, what's it, $67,626.90. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And we'll have a vote to approve the amended bills of the session.
Aye.
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 Unanimously passed? Is that
You're gonna fill in
close?
all the blanks? You need something out of that? No, she's got it.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Announcements?
Would you like to take care of those?
That would be
Okay.
pretty good.
The Planning Commission, which is acting as the Citizen Advisory Committee, began review of the proposed flood ordinance in October. Did that happen? You didn't already?
No, they will
They
begin.
will be. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking when I did this. And we welcome citizen involvement in that. No one volunteered. We advertised in the paper, we sent out notices, and no one volunteered.
I
So-
volunteered.
Well, that's true. And we're still trying to find out from the attorney if she's allowed to, so. There will be a budget committee meeting on Wednesday, November 14th, 2018. That's kind of a key date. First of all, it is a city council meeting, but it's also after the election, and hopefully by that date, we will have some idea of what we're looking at for the future. I neglected last time to announce about our new artist.
Oh.
These are done by Janet Ward Walton, and all of them are, she's focused on marine life, and some of them, they're just beautiful. They're very colorful. So I encourage everybody to come look at those.
Very nice.
And one thing, Siuslaw Vision is having a play day on Saturday, October 13th. The event is from 10 to 2 and includes things like pickleball clinics, yoga for vitality, a community meet and eat at Miller Park, things that are just for kids. They address all ages. And they wanted to let everybody, remind everybody that the Florence Farmers Market closes its season on Tuesday, October 16th with a fall festival. So I'm sure you'll be seeing more about this in the newspaper. And I think those are all the extra announcements I had.
Citizens input,
None.
and new business. Annual report on citizen involvement program, Bonnie Allen, chairperson, and you're the chair of the CAC and the planning commission?
Bonnie's not here.
She's not here? We're
But
gonna
she
have a
did
report?
present a written report.
Yeah.
The planning commission oversees the citizen advisory
Right.
program.
Citizen involvement program.
What?
Citizen involvement program.
Citizen, excuse me, CIP, Citizen Involvement Program for the city. And so annually they report on the activities and give a report on the amount of citizen involvement that occurred during the last year. So,
I was reading in December that they got one of the parts of the 155 done. And that's the first for that happening?
Yes, the
Yes.
CAC finished its review of the first 3 sections of
Mhm.
Chapter 155, and it's actually the first time since the adoption of this citizen involvement program format that the CAC has finished an assignment.
And Bonnie Allen was in charge of that, and that was because she's
Well, the
planning
CAC
chair on the
the-
planning.
She is chairman of the planning commission. The planning commission oversees the citizen involvement program.
Right.
But a CAC, when it is formed, generally votes on its own chairman and, you know, who's gonna serve as chairman and vice chairman. And she did not serve as chairman of the
Oh.
CAC.
Looks like there were several citizens involved with that. To get that job done. Anything further on that part? Amy?
I don't have anything unless someone has questions.
No executive session, and we're on to old business. It's A10A, feeding animals, discussion.
You had instructed me to do a little research. It is not against Oregon law to feed animals, but it is strongly discouraged.
I thought it against the law.
No, I thought it was too, but it actually is not, which I guess is why Mr. Scott came forward and said, you know, a lot of cities, and when I talked to ODF&W, they did say, well, Florence has one, Yachats has one. They all have a code provision that prohibits feeding animals just for the reason that if there becomes a problem, then you have something to fall back on, you know, a nuisance.
Seems to me a couple years ago, a lady was feeding apples to the deer up on Hilltop, and the game warden went out.
Yes, he
Have
goes out and
service
talks
dog.
to her and explains, and they will. They'll
Yeah.
come when you have a complaint, and we did in that case. They'll come out and explain to the people why, and it's really quite simple. The fact of the matter, by feeding them, what you do is congregate them in one area,
Yeah,
and not only are they more susceptible to passing disease between them, it's like setting up the buffet line for their natural predators,
yeah.
and it will attract their natural predators. So, and that's what's been happening.
Yeah, well, just on my drive down here, I went through the gauntlet of deer. It's crazy.
The
Wow.
other thing, and this was new to me, I didn't know that, you know, Mr. Scott had said he thought that they were having twice as many babies. What happens when you feed them is they have multiple births. And so it's not that they're not birthing twice, they're birthing more
Yeah,
than one at a
I
time.
see that, I mean, with
Yeah.
our population here, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're all getting an education about wildlife. But no, it is not against the law, so I will put it on a future agenda when we have a full council to discuss whether we want to do anything about it.
Jamie, was there any pursuit on having the signs added to the street signs?
Yes.
Not feeding the deer?
Yes, and I received correspondence from It's in the other room, because I was gonna bring it up at the next meeting, because basically they said that they didn't see any more than normal activity for injuries and death, because nobody's reporting the accidents, I guess, I don't know, but they said there were no more accidents than normal. And because of that, they would not allow any more signs. However, if we want to add those signs to the signs that we have entering Dune City, you know, the triathlon, and get them, buy them ourselves and install them ourselves and maintain them, they don't object to that.
Well, in my experience, I think that would be a good idea. I mean,
That was one of the meetings that you,
excuse me?
that was at one of the meetings that you were not here in.
Oh.
Yeah, the last meeting.
All right.
Yeah.
And Counselor Meyer's suggestion was that we come up with something that says treat deer, D-E-E-R, deer, D-E-A-R, something catchy. So, I don't know. So that's why I thought, well, we'll wait and we'll talk about it.
That's a good idea.
I'm more for education than punishment.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I like deer, I just don't like him in my grill. You
yeah.
know? I already had that happen once.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
All right, old business B, Revis versus Dune City versus Montgomery, update.
There's really not much more to report. We do have the final order. And I don't know, did you guys see that at the last meeting?
Not the final order, I think. That was on the $897.
All right, and, well, we moved to change it so that nobody got awarded fees. The judge agreed, but he said but allowed for Mr. Montgomery to file a supplemental petition for fees and cost, or just cost, I don't remember exactly what I said, and Mr. Montgomery has done that, so now we're just working on that.
Is this looks like this was a judgment then, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is done.
Yeah, the Revis deal is done.
Okay. Is that it on?
That's it on that one.
Okay.
Nothing more.
See, a half-court basketball court at Bird Park. Discussion on that.
I'm still working on that one. We have taken some measurements. There is room to put not a full official half-court size in the park, but certainly something large enough for kids to practice. In the meantime, our resident Karen Peck came forward. She has a basketball hoop and backboard that she is willing to donate. They're not using anymore. She says it's in really good shape, so we've had that. And I've talked to a couple of the neighbors, but I think what we're going to try and do is have kind of a get-together with those neighbors, with kids in that neighborhood, and see. I met with Norm Wells. We were having our final on Huckleberry, and while I had him there, we talked about it. And we discussed the possibility of asphalt or concrete.
Right.
We decided concrete is, of course, better because your basketball bounces better. But it's also better because if we do have volunteers, that's something volunteers can help do.
Okay.
Volunteers usually can help put down asphalt very
Right.
well. So we're still working on it. They're thinking the total cost, if we get volunteers to do a lot of the labor, is about $2,500.
Yeah.
So it still might be doable. That's something we have in our
I
park
think
meetings.
that's a good idea. It's a good thing.
Can volunteers, I've tried to do concrete pours myself and they end up a little lumpy and kind of sloping. Is that just me? I mean, can volunteers do that and make it really
With
good?
guidance, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with guidance.
Then I'm gonna come and learn.
And the beauty of it is that we have contractors that live in that neighborhood
Okay, good.
with kids and grandkids.
Okay.
And great-grandkids, I believe.
Oh my. And basketballs.
Yeah, and basketball.
Moving on, reports, mayor's report. I think I deserve a plaque or something for the quickest. Community center, and all is well. I haven't heard any phone calls. Water quality, I don't believe Sheldon is available for that one.
Right, Mr. Hager, I forgot to change, I originally had him on the agenda because the water quality testers volunteered him even though he was out of town. And so I put him on the agenda and then I got an email from him saying that no, he didn't believe it was his job to do it, so. I took him off in one spot, but forgot to take him off over here.
Public Works Maintenance Supervisor report.
Richard is not here, but like I said, Huckleberry and Fir, aside from breaking one major water line, sorry people in
That was
Fern Acres.
Fern Acres, yeah.
But we got it fixed right away. It went pretty smoothly, and like you said earlier before the meeting, I'm anxious too to see how it works. So hopefully, the idea is to do away with Lake Huckleberry at the end of Huckleberry Road, where it meets Wright Road and Woking Drive.
Yeah.
Very large puddle of water that you could cast in if you wanted to. So.
I'd say Wohink is a large puddle of water too. It's so silky, but they're
Right, but
even bigger.
It's supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Oh, right, they're
That's
just
right.
supposed to be there.
That's the difference.
This is not. So I'm hoping can. That is the Small Cities Allotment Grant, and we have applied. They've changed the rules. They've increased funding significantly. These are strictly for small cities. And so we have submitted 2 applications. One, for those of you who go down Huckleberry and turn, there's a sign that says dead end, no turnaround. So you probably have never been down there. But if you get down Fir to where Alder splits, Alder is barely wider than this table, and it's cracking off and falling down. So that one's kind of an emergency. That we fear that the people who live there, and there's only a handful of them that do, may end up stuck. So we have asked for funding to fix that. And if you've been down what I call Pirates of the Caribbean Hill on Parkway Drive, that one is cracking and sliding off into the drainage ditch. So we have applied for funding for both of those.
Is it because of the way the water was running down Fir? Was that leading to the Alder?
Part of it.
Part of it.
Part of it, and the city never really, we have a 50-foot wide easement there. And but they didn't do it because it would require cutting out that hill, a significant amount of dirt removal and probably some sort of making it stay to keep to erosion control. But it's gonna have to happen. I mean, it's downright scary. I don't even like to go down there anymore. I can't imagine the people who live there going to do that.
What's the timing on that, Jamie? When might that get?
I mean, I really don't know at this point. It's the same funding that we now used for Huckleberry. So it took about a year. We would have to wait until after the rains anyway. Before, even if we got the funding, we would have to wait until after the rains. Because that much mud and dirt being moved during a rainy season would ruin the water quality at Wohink, I fear. So we won't go there.
Emergency Services report?
At the last WELOG meeting, we reviewed the proposed changes, which will be coming before you at the next meeting, of the WELOG rules and our member entity IGAs. For those who don't know, because there was an article today, letter to the editor, the voters in Lane County voted to create a fire district known as the Scioto Valley Fire and Rescue District. And Dune City contributes, like other entities, Florence, City of Florence, we contribute money to that. So that is how we meet our obligation to provide fire services, is because we are members of that district. The residents in our city pay the taxes. They wouldn't if we didn't have that district. And we also pay membership. So I just want to make that clear.
Sounds like a good thing.
Okay, the next meeting, if anybody wants to attend, will be October 15th at 10 a.m. at the fire station in Florence. And there. You ready for my report?
City Administrator report.
We had 15 building permits issued in September, 3 structural, 4 electrical, 5 mechanical, and 3 plumbing. There was 1 public works permit issued in September for vegetation removal in the right-of-way. The Planning Commission met on September 24th and finalized its review of Chapter 155.4, and which then gets referred to the CAC. We didn't receive any applicants for the CAC for review of the flooding codes, and so the Planning Commission appointed themselves to serve as the CAC for the flood provisions, which is Chapter 153. Letters are going out to Dune City residents asking them to provide information regarding the source of their drinking water. Many residents have wells. Those wells may or may not have state-issued well identification numbers, and it is in the residents' best interest to ensure their wells are registered with the state and given a number to avoid potential difficulties that may occur in the future. There is no charge to update this information and to get the well number, and forms are available on the state's website, Division of Water Resources, although it's kind of hard to find, but it's there if you keep looking. And I have them here at City Hall too, so if some people want to come by and pick up a form, it's pretty simple. Our brand new administrative assistant, Monica Severino, resigned. She has background in working in veterinary medicine, and she got a job doing what she loves, so she resigned. But we have a new part-time administrative assistant, Abby DuBois, who is also a Dune City resident. So she started on September 24th. She'll work 5 hours on Monday and 5 hours on another day of the week, her choice, excluding holidays. Cougar sightings continue in the city limits. Residents are asked not to feed the deer or any other wildlife for that matter, and to use caution, particularly in early morning and late afternoon hours. The Water Quality Committee is revisiting the Quality Assurance Project Plan to update the information and assign duties to address changes that have occurred with the membership of the water testers. And like I said, Huckleberry Lane, we talked about the grant applications. There are numerous potholes and drainage repairs that also need to be addressed and will be as soon as possible, money permitting. I'm done.
12, for the good of the order.
Nothing.
Only thing I can say is election's coming up in 20-some days, and we have Dune City has a measure on the ballot
Yeah.
3.
for the marijuana, isn't that right?
We have one.
One.
We have 3 measures on the ballot.
We have one. We have 3 measures, Dune City does?
Dune City does, yes. We have the ban, the marijuana ban.
Right.
We have the charter amendment
Oh,
to allow a municipal judge to not have to meet in Dune City, no matter what, whole court in Dune City. And the third one is the half penny per thousand,
wow.
5-year property tax.
I remember all of those now. Important to get out and vote. That's all I have. I have a motion to adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Aye.
Record time, 25 minutes.
Vote somebody.
Vote.